Hey guys, Kingtrin here, and I am back with my second video. Today, I've decided on the formula that I'm going to be using for my videos, at least I think I have. I'm just going to show good gameplay in the background. That's all I'm going to show. And then I'm going to dub over it, talking about whatever it is that I want to talk about. I'll try to sometimes include what it is that I'm talking about in the videos. You will see some of what I'm talking about today, which is no penetration, more specifically to the issue of how MVTs are absorbing armor. But for the most part, I just want to talk, and the visuals are just you watching something cool happen. And the Stingray is strong. Strong tank. Very good, yeah? So, what I wanted to talk about today was about the second half of the MBT video. In short, just to keep it simple for you guys, what do I think about the way that MBTs have been handled so far with regards to balance? I think they've been done pretty well. Yay! Well, it's not all yay. Some of it is pretty crap, but putting aside the issues of heat rounds, which still need to be addressed, the issues of poor hitboxes, which also still need to be addressed, the issues of latency, these things do impact whether or not you are able to actually do effectively against MBTs. Putting all of that aside, I think that not just being able to blindly and dumbly fire at a heavy tank, like let's say the Leo 2 AV, or the Chieftain, and being able to reliably penetrate without having to think, I think that's a good thing. More specifically, let me relate to you what happened. I didn't get it on recording, but what happened was I went up against a Chieftain and a Leo 2 AV in my Stingray, and I was having so much trouble penetrating them. I was getting off, I think I fired a total of 10 shots at them or something like that, and only about 3 of them penetrated because they were both facing their fronts towards me, and I liked that. I had to aim for the cupola. The lower plate did not work. I couldn't do a lower plate. It didn't work. But I had to aim for the cupola. I had to wait until the thing was green, and I had to think my actions through. And it got to the point where I was forced to back off because they were getting shots into me, and I wasn't getting shots into them, and my health was decreasing. And that's what MVPs are supposed to do. They're not supposed to just be caught out in the open and rinsed, just totally ravaged by everyone else. They're supposed to have survivability. Their survivability has been greatly increased. So now you have to actually think. So that's why I'm in the Stingray, which is I would say, it's hard to describe it, but I would say it's a thinking man's tank. You have to think about what you're doing because there are games where I just dicked around and I got absolutely destroyed. I have to think in its tank. I have to watch where I'm going. I have to be wary, but when I get into the right position, I can absolutely destroy the enemy team. I have to take advantage of openings and breakthroughs, and when I do very well. When I act like an idiot, I get destroyed. I like that. I like that a lot. I like a game which is forcing me to play smartly, and the recent changes have definitely forced me to play smartly. And the greatest thing about these recent changes is that you don't have to play smartly. You can use your big, dumb, heavy tanks, let's call them heavy tanks because that's what they are. You can use stuff like the Soviet line. The T-62, putting that aside because that has like no armor at all at the hull, but the T-64 and the T-72 and T-80, these tanks trade health for armor, and you survive longer. Because when you rely on your health for survivability, I tend to find that you don't survive for very long. Before, you did survive longer. You didn't survive for very long, but you survived longer into stuff like the Leo, which I talked about before. You definitely survived longer in that tank because health was what mattered. Now, health isn't all what it's about. Like I said, the changes aren't all perfect, but for the most part, having more armor used just in the right way, like let's say in a city, like you're not going out in the open and getting shot at because nothing will ever solve that. But let's say you're putting your armor where it counts, you're going to survive longer than someone who's just doing the same thing that you're doing. Like let's say they have health, they're in a Stingray or a Leopard, and they go city, you're going to survive longer than them even though they have more health, and that makes sense because they have more health. They are designed in such a way that allows them to survive longer because they don't have armor, but they still get punished for being stupid. This game does need to punish, let's say stupid play. It does need to be smarter, I would say, because then that way you get people who do act better on their team when they get destroyed each and every single round, kind of anyway. I definitely saw some VBLs this round playing absolutely amazingly. Credit to Captain Falcon. If you're watching this, I don't know if you are, but you are fucking amazing in that thing. But on topic again, I like it when a game makes you. It doesn't force you down a roll, but it encourages you down a roll. The people have praised the T-64 for being a well-rounded, balanced tank. It doesn't have too much health. It doesn't have too much rate of fire. It doesn't have too much alpha. It is well-rounded. It can perform well. Now, people have been complaining that the Leo isn't doing too well now, and I can understand that because it relied on its health before, and now the health obviously isn't very good. So you have to, give it something else. I would say. I know people have been clamoring for that thing to have maneuverability, and I would agree. Like, give that thing maneuverability. Trade its. That's what it did. It traded its armor. It traded any degree of survivability for its gun. Give it a good gun and no armor. It's basically a tank destroyer, and that'll confuse people, of course, but maybe you can have that thing, basically you can describe it as being a sniping tank, in maybe the description or something. But people will be able to figure it out, right? Like, this is supposed to be a game with some variety. Like, I know the tanks seem like they're all similar, but it's supposed to have some variety. Some MBTs have good survivability. They have very good armor, like the Soviets. Other MBTs trade the survivability for other things, such as maybe the gun or the survivability. That's a good thing. Now that we have armor on MBTs, now you can have more diversity. It seems kind of weird, but that's how it works. Now that armor works, that can now be used as a point for certain tanks. Now they don't have to all be about health or all be about the gun. And if you improve the way that stabilization it needs to be reworked, stabilization. But if you improve that, then stuff like the Leopard begins to work better. So I think this is a good move, but there still needs to be improvement. So stuff like the Leopard needs to have better gun stabilization. You improve these aspects of these tanks mechanically, and you get more variety, and that's what I like to see. So what this has done is this has made the Soviet heavy tank line more I call them Soviet heavies. Soviet MBT line more viable. It's gotten to the point where now you can say, okay, this is what my tank is good at. It is good alpha and good armor. Doesn't have a ton of hit points, but it's got armor where it counts, and that's what matters, and I am going to play the tank like that. And that helps new players, and that also adds variety, and that's a good thing. So, to summarize, I think that the changes to MBTs have, for the most part, worked out in the way that they change things. Still need more changes, but I like these changes, and these changes help add variety to the game, and they make things easier on the new player. So, what else has happened? There was that whole economy rebalance. Yeah, people kind of freaked out when they saw that tanks were going to cost several million credits, but as it turns out, the way that the economy has been rebalanced, everything is actually easier now. So if you have ever shied away from certain lines because you were worried that it was going to be a pain in the ass, since you were going to be always bottom tier, well, now, if you start soon, it won't be so bad. There's going to be some no-lifers on the weekend, like me, but for the most part, I think that even if you start down in a line that you haven't gone down before, you can still make some good progress. So I encourage everyone who has not gone down, let's say they're going down Shishkin like me and they haven't gone down Wolfie, go down Wolfie. Go down that path. You can always get to like the Tank Destroyer LAB 300 or something if you don't want to go down the main line. But the economy and the gain rate for XP has been rebalanced to the point where it's actually viable now to get things in a shorter amount of time. This is only for the test. Don't panic. It's not for the main game. But I like this because this is going to help us test stuff later tier, because boy do they need to test that stuff. Nobody has played it yet, and I'm really looking forward to play that stuff, because boy oh boy am I looking forward to the Stingray 2 after having played the Stingray 1, let me tell you. But so they had a MBT rebalance, they had the economy rebalance, they also added a new map, Roughneck, which I feel is much more well balanced than the other maps. I will be going through the other maps each individually, especially the shit one, the really awful one in my opinion, Ghost Fields, which needs that entire northern part to be completely redone. But besides that, I will be going through that maybe in the next video, who knows. I just wanted to get this one out because it's been too long. I really need to do more videos, maybe every other day. But for the most part, this test, I have been happy with. I like what they've done. I would say for the next update, give more mechanics a little bit more love. Let's certain things like gun stabilization work out better for players, because if you go over a hill or something, it completely messes up your aim. So work on things mechanically, work on the latency. For now, I would say Obsidian have been doing things correctly. So next video, going to be about the maps. Or failing that, it's going to be about the Stingray, because oh boy, do I love this tank. So, I'll see you guys in 2 days. And if I'm not back in 2 days, I want you to scream at me in the comments!